Hello and welcome to That Canceled Movie Show. I'm your host G-Mac and joined by my roommate/intern Jimmy.
Could I borrow a couple eggs?
I don't have any eggs.
I'll take that as yes.
In today's episode, we are going to be reviewing and breaking down Bill and Ted Face the Music, directed by Dean Parsiet and written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon. So get ready for a most excellent time. The movie starts out with a montage explaining who Bill and Ted are and what happened leading up to the current sequel. They had a successful music career for a while, but fell off the map due to their search for the song that will unite the world as foretold by the future ones. I like this because although I've seen the first movie, it's been quite a while. And never having seen the second one, I was worried I wouldn't understand some of the references. This movie does a nice job at welcoming back older fans, but also introducing new ones to the most excellent duo. So don't worry about seeing the first two before watching this current installment. It might actually be fun to watch them in reverse.
I'm the protagonist.
Wrong movie, Jimmy.
Oh, sorry, boss. I was trying to go back in time and perform better in the Tenet episode.
After the opening montage, we find Bill and Ted performing at the strangest wedding. Ted's younger brother is marrying their old babysitter, who is actually their ex-stepmom as well. I know, it sounds ridiculous. And it is. I was laughing out loud alone in the theater. It was great. Bill, played by Alex Winter, takes his time explaining the new family dynamic in a hilariously awkward fashion, much to the dismay of the guests. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't expect too much from this movie, so when it had me laughing right off the bat, I was pleasantly surprised. And another thing you should know about going into this, it is not a thinking man's movie. It wasn't afraid to have its freak flag fly and just have fun. We find out that Bill and Ted are still married to their English princesses that we met in the previous installments. And each of them has had one daughter, who are exactly like them, to the point that they have similar names. Theodora Thea Preston and Wilhelmina Billy Logan, played by Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy Payne, respectively. And they act and talk just like their fathers, with their whoas and their excellence.
Now that we live together, I've been starting to notice a lot of similarities too.
Setup to this movie has a classic 80s dad reference of, "Get a job, you deadbeats!" And Bill and Ted say that we have a job, and it's to find the song that will unite the world. After the wedding, we go to a couples therapy session. Or I should say, a couple therapy session. Well, the wives thought they were going to an actual couples therapy session with just their husband. But the husbands thought couples therapy meant having two couples together. During the session, the therapist, played by Jillian Bell, hilarious lady, wants Bill and Ted to tell their wives that they love them. And they do this in their own adolescent fashion by saying, "We love you," referring to themselves as a unit. In this, they completely miss the point to the whole situation. This part had me cracking up. But it did bring up a commentary on those classic comedy formulas where it has grown men acting like adolescents and everyone just going along with it because, boys will be boys. Not me though, I've learned to be an adult. Super serious stuff.
Are we still on for laser tag this Friday?
The dudes leave the session because they have to continue their search to find the song that will unite the world. But then Kelly, played by Kristen Schaal, arrives from the future in her egg time travel machine.
I think those eggs I borrowed were no good.
What eggs?
The green ones in the back of the fridge.
Those weren't eggs. In the future, they meet the great leader, played by Holland Taylor, and she tells them that they have until 7:17 p.m. tonight until the world and reality ends. Whoa. Kelly gives them a future watch, so they'll be able to tell time in that year if they decided to time travel through time. I love this whole thing. It reminded me of those classic 80s adventure movies that didn't take themselves so seriously. Since the two slackers don't have the song, they decide to take the original time machine phone booth and travel through time to their future selves to see if they have the song.
I'm starting to see through time thanks to those eggs.
They accomplish this by going a little bit into the future each time, meeting themselves at different points in their life.
I understand now. Egg is life. I am egg. I am life.
However, throughout their journey, their future selves are trying to sabotage them because they lost their wives by being bad husbands. It was super funny to watch. At one point, the Teds almost got into it, and their future selves tell them that they messed it up even further by trying to go back in time to fix it with their wives. And so what do? they go back in time and try and fix it with their wives.
Such a fool thinking I could stop the inevitable.
And while Bill and Ted are traveling through time to try and find the song, their daughters are traveling through the past to find historical musicians to help their dads. And this is reminiscent of the first movie, where Bill and Ted had to find historical figures to help them with their history project. And the two daughters go back in time and find Jimi Hendrix, Louis Armstrong, Mozart, Ling Loon, and Grom, a prehistoric drummer. But even meanwhile, the great leader thinks that the prophecy will come true if Preston and Logan are dead. So she does what anyone would do, and send a time-traveling murder robot after them.
Come with me if you want to live.
Who are you, strong robot man?
I'm Jimmy. I'll save you, boss. Yeah.
This robot, named Dennis Caleb McCoy, tracks them down to 2025, where the future Bill and Ted have hijacked Dave Grohl's house to trick the other Bill and Ted into thinking that they've made it in the music business and have written the song to unite the world so that the other Bill and Ted will be fooled and they can get their wives back. Crazy. Well, the cops arrive, which happen to be Ted's father and younger brother, so they can arrest their future selves for hijacking Dave Grohl's house. But Ted's father is vaporized by Dennis on accident when he was trying to kill Bill and Ted. And Dennis is like, oops.
We have to keep going, boss. The evil robots are after us.
Well, the duo end up in a future prison where they meet their future selves again. These versions of themselves are super jacked. But Dennis shows up and the muscly dudes in their gang beat him up to prevent him from killing their past selves so they don't die either.
Get you.
Eventually, Dennis waits for them back at their garage, but he accidentally kills Thea and Billy and sends them to hell, along with the rest of the musicians. Bill and Ted meet their elderly selves, and they actually have the song. So finally, Bill and Ted can save the day. But Dennis shows up, and they fight over it and end up vaporizing themselves. And they all end up in hell, even Dennis. There, Bill and Ted find their loved ones and the musicians. Then they go talk to Death to try and get the hell out of hell and save the world. And this was funny, because having the figure of Death act like a spoiled little kid due to his betrayal by Bill and Ted in the past, classic. But it also took me out of the immersion due to its pacing. The rest of the movie is very quick and to the point, and during this scene, it felt like it just came to a full stop. Well, next, they get out of hell and end up on a highway where they're gonna play the song to save all the world and reality. But the problem is they don't have the song anymore because they broke it in half so Dennis would kill them. Whatever will they do?
Go on without me, boss. I'll save the day. But do not worry, I'll return.
But in predictable fashion, it was their daughters who were meant to unite the world and all reality through the power of song. Now that was a fun movie. I only have a few things I didn't like besides that one pacing problem in the death scene. The characters of the wives, Elizabeth and Joanna, played by Erin Hayes and Jayma Mays, didn't feel fleshed out enough. Even for a cheesy comedy such as this, they only seemed like they were there to support Bill and Ted instead of actually being their own characters. And also there was a lot of Deus Ex Machina at the end, but I didn't really care about that because if they try and explain every little detail, then the fun would be gone. With that being said, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a nice break from all the super serious movies that are all the rage these days. Reeves and Winter fell back into their characters like a pair of old shoes. They did awesome at playing the titular slackers. And William Sadler as Death was great. There was this one scene where he was playing hopscotch by himself, but still cheating. It was hilariously sad. So if you're looking for a nice change of pace from these trying times, and future ones, I recommend giving Bill and Ted Face the Music a watch, so you too can have a most excellent time.
Oh. What happened, boss?
You ate some green orbs and started hallucinating.
I'm never eating green eggs again, no matter what Dr. Strudel says.
Dr. Seuss?
No, Dr. Strudel, my podiatrist.
Why is a podiatrist recommending green eggs?
He says it will help me review movies better.
He sounds like a quack. Where'd you find this guy?
In the park. He's a duck.
Ah, I see. I hope you enjoyed this episode of That Canceled Movie Show. And tell me your thoughts about it in the comments section below. And also, if you want to see me review any movies, old or new, let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes. And a quick shout out to Fort Collins Public Media for helping me produce this episode. Thanks for watching. Take care. All right, Jimmy, let's get you to a hospital.
I think that's a good idea, boss.